Hey guys, thought I'd make just a second, making sure, okay, I think it's recording, yeah, making sure this thing was recording. Thought I'd make a video today, and the reason I'm going to title this video, Be Thankful You're a Normie. Look, I have my issues with normies, as they call it, and I hate to use that term. I'm using the incel term because I'm just talking about normal people, what I mean by normal. Sure, we'd all love to be, I'm talking about this is for guys now, we'd all love to be the alpha guy and all that kind of stuff, but most of us are not, the overwhelming majority of us are not alphas. Most of us are normies, then some of us are the lower tier, incels, autistics, whatever, and, we're not going to be alphas, but if you are a normie, be thankful you're at least that. And this is what I'm going to get into in my video. Because you need to be thankful you're a normie for one thing. Be thankful if you're average height. Be thankful you're average intelligence. Be thankful your average looks. Be thankful, I think I said average height, but I'll say it again. Be thankful your average height. Be thankful you come from a family with maybe an average income. You're not too rich, you're not too poor. Be thankful for that. And I'll tell you why. I'm none of those things. I like I said, I don't know about my looks, but I doubt my looks are amazing. I pretty much doubt that. The reason is, if you're not a normie, a lot of times, like I said, you're either the super alpha guy, which is obviously the funnest thing to be, or you're the lower tier guy. You're the low guy. Probably, lesser looks, lesser intelligence, lesser height, lesser income, lesser charisma, whatever. You're less of all of those things. And with me, I also had my body fail me. And that's what I'm saying. Be thankful that your body doesn't fail you when you're young. I mean, obviously it can when you're older. We all get that. But I'm talking about when you're younger. Be thankful, because there's people like me, and there's others. They weren't even healthy when they were young. They had mental problems, maybe. Maybe they had, just like me, being neurodivergent. I'm not neurotypical, which that comes from being autistic. You're not normal. You don't think like other people. You don't feel like other people. You're not normal. And I'm going to give you some examples and how it affects you and why you should be thankful you are at least normal. Don't gripe and complain about it. I mean, yeah, we'd all love to be the best, but at least be thankful you're normal. And here's why. Normal people, a lot of times, the normies, as the incel community calls them, they judge us a lot. And the reason I think they judge us a lot, then I get the comments, you need to do this, do that. Man, why don't you just do this? Why don't you just do that? Because they're normal. They're thinking you just don't want to do nothing. They think you don't want to be anybody. They think you just don't try, And it was like, I don't know if you've ever seen the show, I can't even remember the name of the sitcom now. I cannot remember it now, but it used to come on when I was a kid. And they had, it was two brothers, and the one son just ain't doing no good in school. He's just not doing any good. And the other guy says, I'll finally just help him at the end of the episode. Man, if I can just get his butt to start doing something. He's just not trying. He ain't doing nothing. And he sits him down and he says, now open up that basic economics textbook. It's this, high school book. And he says, open up that basic economics book. And he's reading it, and he goes, well, that's not what it says, man. The kid looks at him and goes, that's not what it says. And he goes, what are you talking about? And he goes, it says economic basics. And you can tell, and the guy goes, man, you're just an idiot. Just open the book and read. And he opens it up. Of course, he can't do it. He goes, I can't do it. I can't do it. And he goes, man, just sit down, dude. You're just not trying, man. And he goes, no. He goes, I don't want to study. I'm no good at economic basics. And he goes, it's not economic basics. It's basic economics. And of course, he's having a fit. And that's when it hits him. He has dyslexia. The guy, they go and he knew something was wrong. And of course, they go and they have him tested, and he has dyslexia. See, that was the problem the whole time. He had a disability. His brain didn't function normally, or his nerves, or whatever it is that causes that, was not functioning normally. Okay? And that's what the guy didn't understand. Oh, man, you just ain't trying, man. You know, the father couldn't figure it out. Oh, you're just not doing nothing. He ain't going to make nothing out of himself, blah, 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 blah. And that's the point. They think you're like them. See? They don't understand that there are things a lot of times that control us. You know? And that, like I said, it's about the only way I can really describe that. Normal people don't understand that, especially normal men, until you're a man. You're supposed to do things as a man. Well, when you're disabled, you can't do a lot of those things. Oh, you're supposed to be Mr. Fix-It and take care of the house. What if you have disabilities that keep you from doing that? See, your body's failing you, see. And I'll go through my life real quickly. I don't know how long I've had autism. I've had it at least since I was very, very small. Because my mom talked about having, you know, as I found out, I had the symptoms as young as probably 3 years old. And what did that do? Well, number one, normal people, normal kids are going to want to associate with other kids. Not always. You know, not every kid does that, but most will. And I didn't do that at all as a kid. That's an autistic symptom. Autistic kids don't care about playing with everybody else. And I didn't want to. I hated going. I would gripe and complain to my mom when she would take me to nursery school because she told me, and I kind of remember it. You know, I was very young. And why was I doing that? Because I'm damaged. I'm not normal. I'm not thinking like her. I don't want that. You know, I don't want to be around a bunch of kids. Then you get into public school. I screamed and I cried going to public school. I absolutely despise that. And what she didn't understand was, and I was like that for a long time. It took a number of years before I was comfortable at all going to school. The first day would always be so horrible. And it was because I had that I had that disorder. Couldn't help it. You're born with it. Well, I don't know if you're born with it, but, you know, you have it. And other problems I had as I was growing up were developmental delays. I was not developing like a normal child. See, normal children are not like this. They're not super duper intelligent, but they're not super duper dumb. They're not super duper brilliant, but they're not super duper disabled. Get what I'm saying? They're normal. They're going to move on, and they're going to at least be a normal person. I was not. I couldn't do anything with my hands. I was so uncoordinated. Couldn't ride a go-kart. Couldn't ride a bicycle. You know, so of course I would just lie to people. Oh, I just don't want to do it. Well, no, that wasn't what it was. I couldn't do it. And of course I'd get made fun of if I did it, right, when I was little. And I didn't even learn to tie my shoes till I was 12 years old. When I was a little kid, my mom helped me brush my teeth because I never told people this. I was so uncoordinated. Now, I can do it now. I'm an adult. Now my body developed. I became a normal, in that way. Just like a little child is not as strong, right, as an adult. I did develop, but it was slower. Way slower. And I was very weak as a child, too, physically. I was not very strong. I was also, like I said, being weak like that, I was overpowered easily. My sister, we would play, and she could easily overpower me. I was very weak. I just wasn't a strong child, and I was extremely small. I don't know if that has anything to do with autism. I've never found out if it does, but I've studied and tried to find out, but there's nothing that says that being extremely small, has anything to do with autism, if it causes that. But there are people on the autistic forums I've gone on, parents of autistic kids, that say a lot of times, especially the boy, that their boys are very small. And I've heard it, so I wonder if that definitely has something to do with this. But anyway, there it was, and then as I got older in school, I couldn't focus very well. I'm sure I had ADD, which is also part of autism. Most people will tell you, most doctors will say, most autistic kids, not all of them, will either have extreme focus, that's kind of the savants, or they will have, they float, they can't stay focused, It'd be like sitting an object down, it just constantly rolled across the table, right? It just will not stay still. It will not stay focused, it just keeps going, and that's what I had growing up. I mean, it wasn't as severe sometimes as it sounds, but it was rough enough that it made school hard. I could read, and I didn't comprehend the things I was reading. It's amazing how I love to read, how that developed, because as a child, it was very hard for me. And, as I grew up, I had no goals in life. Now, part of it was autistic people just don't care about doing those things because they don't care about hanging out with people. They don't care about being accepted by society because most of the time, number one, they won't be anyway because they're different, they're weird. And they don't care as much about being around the opposite sex. Now, I was attracted to women, but I had no interest in dating as a kid. None. I didn't care about hanging out with them. I didn't care about doing any of that. I was just a lone child. And a lot of autistic people will tell you, especially after they've become adults, that when they were young kids, they didn't care about hanging out with anybody, and they may still not. To this day, that's never really gone away. It just doesn't bother them like it does a normal person. It just doesn't. That's why they probably had an easier time with these lockdowns and everything. It probably has not bothered them in that way as much. And I don't want to hear people, I was like that, and I'm not even autistic. No, we know that. We get it. But yes, it's a very common symptom with people with autism. Well, you also, even if you want to be around people, you can't. Because you can ask any autistic person this, and there's not one autistic person that does not have this symptom that science has shown, and that is the horrible ability to communicate with others. They just have it. I have it. I've seen people online that have had it. Autistic people that are celebrities, they talk about they've had it. It's just the most common symptom we all have. And it has an effect on you because you're going to miss out on a lot of things. You're not going to develop properly. You're not going to have friends like most people have. You are not going to, like I said, and some autistic people don't care about that, but some do. They just can't do anything about it. They just can't do it. Associating with people is hard. It literally is physically draining to them. It's weird. I have it. I'm not as bad as I was as a kid, but I still have it. That associating with people is hard, especially people my age. But, that's kind of a thing with autism. And also my motor skills, what did that affect? Being uncoordinated, it affected me driving. Did I learn to drive normally as a child? No. Of course not. Good grief, I couldn't get behind a car and kill somebody, and because I couldn't keep on the road, or good grief, I could kill somebody, kill myself, permanently injure myself. Anything could have happened. So you can see how that's affected me all my life. I would love to have been a writer. I just can't stay focused enough to do that. Because you have to be a writer, you got to write a lot. I know writers have writer's block, but I mean, you got to be able to basically do that, right? If you're going to be a writer, articles or books or whatever. I couldn't do a job even like my dad had, which would have been a blue collar job, pipe fitter. That's what my dad did. He was a plumber steam fitter. I can't do that job. Or I could have developed me now, but I'm getting older now. I couldn't do that job for very long. Number one, I probably couldn't stay focused enough. Number two, I don't have the coordination to do it. And I would probably get hurt on the job and other things. I just can't do the job. So what does this hurt me in? My economic life. I'm not going to be able to make much money. I struggled as a kid with my first and only job, which was working at a grocery store. It went so terrible that I quit. I quit in shame. This was when I was about, 19 years old. But it was horrible. I still remember it. Some of it's faded, but I remember it a lot. I just couldn't do the job. I was slow. And buddy, I didn't get no mercy from people either. Once again, you're a man. You just don't get treated the same. And I did not get mercy during that time. There was no, poor guy, y'all don't understand, no. Of course, I didn't even know what was wrong with me back then. I didn't know I was autistic. I just knew I sucked at everything, And what did I do? I quit in shame, and I had mom go and tell them. This was a long time ago. I wouldn't do that now, but back then I did. I was just ashamed. And that's what it really was. I was angry and I was embarrassed. Because you're thinking, I'm an adult. I should be able to do this job. I'm not a nuclear physicist, okay? This is not a job that should be that hard, right? Working in a grocery store, duh. But it was. And so that's what I'm saying. Be thankful you're at least normal. You can get you will have normal friends. You can at least maybe get a girlfriend, maybe get married, do basic jobs like when you're young, fast food, retail, grocery store, whatever. And then when you get older, you can at least get a basic job. Hopefully, that's getting harder and harder to come up. But you get the gist of what I'm saying. You can be normal. And your life won't just be chaos. You can at least have some kind of normalcy in your life. And maybe even get married and maybe have even a couple of kids. So don't take it for granted, guys, because I wished I had it. Because that's the thing, a lot of the normies. And y'all might have done the same thing. You may be a normie that's done this to people. Sorry about that, I was itching. You may have judged people. Oh, man, come on, just like that guy I talked about in the episode. Oh, come on, man, you just ain't trying, you know. Come on, man, you're just lazy. You're just lazy. That's what it is. Because your body doesn't fail you. You're not a genius. You're not an idiot either. You're normal. You're just normal. You know. You don't say that to geniuses. Oh, slow down. No, you don't do that. You might be jealous, but I mean, you don't do that. They're geniuses. They're going to move way ahead of you. They're super duper smart or super duper athletic type thing. You know, all of that. They're above average. You're just average, but be thankful for that because you don't want to be the other one, which I am, and others are. That's about all I got to say, guys. This video went real long. I didn't mean for it to go as long as it did, but it kind of did. Because of this phone, it'll take forever to upload it. So I'll try to upload this later. But in closing, if you're a normie, yeah, it's not perfect. You'd love to be the top. But be thankful you're not the bottom. Be thankful you're a normie. Thanks, guys. Have a good one. Bye-bye.